Two light stands, both alike in dignity. In fair Verona, where we set our scene, where ancient grudge breaks new mutiny, and civil blood makes civil hands unclean. If that wasn't already clear, we are comparing some rolling light stand, C-stand things. Which one will win? Which one will just kill itself off screen with some hemlock or something? I wanted to get some rolling stands because I wanted some stands that rolled. Okay, let me try that again. I was a field guy. I went into the field, you know, but now I'm in the studio. So I need some studio gear. Okay, you know what a light stand and a C-stand without wheels looks like. I wanted something wheeled to roll my lights around, and in particular, to roll my camera around. I've tried to convert one of these, this one exactly, to having wheels. Not a great experience. Gosh, this is wobbly. So I went and I got some stands ready-made for the purpose of wheeling both lights or adapted camera heads to that purpose. Wowee, look at that. I thought this doesn't travel so well, but you can fold these legs up and make a go of it if you wanted to. Or can you? We'll find out.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
The first light stand I purchased is this Neewer 10-foot heavy-duty air-cushioned light stand with casters. Adjustable tripod stand, stainless steel photography wheeled stand for studio flash softbox monolight reflector. So I'll be calling it Neewer for short. Why did I put my phone away? And over here we have Takerers. This is from Takerers. Heavy duty light stand for photography, max load 66 pounds, Takerers LS12, 10.3 foot / 124 adjustable stainless steel tripod stands with 1/4 to 3/8 universal screw carry bag for softbox strobe. So I'll be calling this generic for short. That's foreshadowing.
Sometimes foreshadowing is...
These light stands are similar price. Yeah, this generic is listed at $135, but does currently have a $20 coupon, which, yeah, I think you need that coupon. Here we have the Neewer air cushioned light stand for $161 currently, although it's saying it's 15% off. I think this is pretty good at $160. Well, why is that? For my purposes, the smaller footprint is preferable. As you can see, we are not in a terribly big space here. And there are certain techniques that might be required. Sad. What do we got? A little under 26 inches. And on the generic, that's over 3 foot, baby. I will say, it is easier to do this with the Neewer and less easy to do that with the generic. So that said, this is pretty light and this is much heavier duty. I can't even lift this one. I could do a weight comparison, but that would require that I weigh me and hold each one. I don't care to do that. Watch this. I haven't done this before, but I know what'll happen. Wasn't that a much less pleasant ping over here versus this? Let me show you something else. What's there? Nothing. Look how thin that is. Much thicker. They're not the same wheels, but I haven't had a problem with either wheel. They both have locks that operate in the same manner. Well, that was harder to operate. Part of the reason I bought this generic stand at all, I wanted to be able to take my camera and use a stud, because that would be less expensive than having to adapt something to this. And there's not a lot of options out there that give you the removable stud. Most of them just have a baby pin, and that's all you get. I wanted that flexibility, I wanted that option, but there are some compromises I gotta make in order to get that. One of those compromises is that this is not air cushioned, this generic one. The Neewer is air cushioned. There is a version of the Neewer that is not air cushioned nor spring cushioned. This is, however, spring cushioned. And I will say, although spring cushion feels weird and it looks crazy without weight on it, it's probably better than nothing. Camera on light stand, what? This is not air cushioned. This would be an example of not an air cushioned stand. So, you know, I did that totally for your benefit, and I hope you are edified from that. I'm gonna double spring cushion this. That made me more uncomfortable than the thing that had no cushioning whatsoever. This would not be so crazy if it were a light. This is without a modifier, but yeah, that feels fine. Say it's just a single spring. This is locked down. Yeah, that still slams there. So if your finger were there, it would still hurt. Double air cushioning. Did you see me? Beautiful. Single stage air cushioning. I like the sound, you know. So they both have a safety mechanism, but yeah. So this would be an example that's not air cushioned at all. Well, the rubber definitely helps. This generic actually doesn't come with rubber, rubber gaskets. I don't think the spring is sufficient to really protect it, and it doesn't have gaskets as a secondary failsafe, which you can see here. You know, it is helpful. I have no qualms with either of the knobs, and when I say I have no qualms with either of the knobs, I did actually cut my finger on the generic one due to the machining. After I was able to smooth it out using my skin, then I had no qualms with it. Moving down, this beer cozy is firmly glued to the Neewer stand. This beer koozie is not. But it does reveal this nice white powder beneath. That's fun. We're gonna move down to the shaft, the main shaft. This is heavier duty. Now moving on to the leg support. These are longer. This, as you can see when I pinch it, I mean, this is gonna be harder to pinch just because it's shorter, but so I'm going to loosen the leg supports on the generic stand. You thought things were frustrating before? No, none of those were frustrating. They were just slightly inferior. This is where it gets frustrating. Easy. And it is less effort, but similarly jank to deploy it. Gets caught. These retaining nubs. I'm gonna have to do that again to return this thing. I'm happy now because we get to do that again, but with a much better built stand. Maybe this isn't fair because I was warmed up with the other stand, but I really don't want to do it again to fairly compare. Happy. I think I personally got this for like $100. Still, this stand at $100 versus this stand at $160, like I'm going to give this to my children, adult children. This stand, there are two differences that are making me choose to return this generic stand versus this Neewer stand. I'll probably just buy another Neewer air cushion stand. One is particular to me, and that is the footprint. The footprint is larger than I would prefer on the generic stand. Now, in some cases, that may be fine. This is a very wide footprint, but this is also a very heavy-duty stand. I cannot do all sorts of things with this despite it having a large footprint. I don't feel like I could just slam 100 pounds back here to offset a boom in a big light, for example. So for my particular situation, I prefer the smaller footprint of this Neewer stand. I do not like the safety mechanism here nearly as much as the air cushioning. Air cushioning is such a good safety system. It is very hard to overcome it, and I am not the only one operating this equipment, so if there's a way I can help people from potentially getting hurt, that's great. That said, I think this isn't a bad light stand, particularly if you can get it at a good price, so I don't not recommend it, but what I do find is I think this Neewer air cushion stand is really great. I think what you get for your money is quite good. There was never a story of more woe than this Neewer light stand and her generic friend who's gotta go. Feel free to engage if you like this video, if you like this sort of type of video. If you have any particular questions, particularly about this stand, I should be able to answer them. This one I may not, because it may not be here anymore. But I can answer questions about this one.